Hello, everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my great short stories series, we're on short story 28, Game, by Donald Barthelme. We're going to be probably actually reading the very end because it's just 4 paragraphs away, and we'll be talking about the short story in this class. We might even start a second one. You never know. Well, let's find out. First, a little bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up, which means, oh, there you go. Turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom quiet. Tune in to the new words that you're learning when we are speaking so that I can give you feedback and correct you. And finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. That is a little bit about my class. When you open the link, you will see this graphic. Then you know you're in the right place. Daniel knows he's in the right place. Am I right, Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So I thought maybe we stopped about 4 paragraphs away from the ending. Maybe we ought to actually just read the end of the story. And on Tuesday, I asked everyone to take a look at these 3 parts. Let's look at them. Well, the discussion we'll do together, but these 2 parts. The vocabulary, if you had some examples, and question, particularly if there's one of these areas that you have an idea about. So mine was about the narrator, so I turned it into a question. So same thing for all of you to help you. I'd rather that the discussion is led by you rather than me. Just a second here. So if we go down to the next page, we've also got some useful links, and I said it might be particularly good to read the one by Thomas Pynchon, but you've got some good background information there. So there you go. So what do you think? Do you want to jump right into the discussion, or should we just pick up where we left off and finish reading since we were on the basically the last page of the story?
You can read.
Yeah?
Yes.
Abimelech, is that okay with you? We're going to actually just finish the last 4 paragraphs of the story.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So
Yeah.
let's jump forward then. We stopped here with the paragraph about acrimoniously. So Daniel, why don't you take this paragraph? By the way, I don't know, Abimelech, were you in the class on Tuesday? Did you read the first part of the story?
No, I wasn't.
Ah, so you have to know what's going on. So Daniel, what do we know so far? What can we tell him about what's happened in the first part of the story?
I summarize.
If you well, yeah, he doesn't know what's going on yet.
Okay.
So give a little summary.
It's a crazy and metaphoric story about 2 guys who are living in a kind of basement underground, and their behavior is very strange. We suppose they are taking care of console.
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 That's right.
in which there are
Two locks.
two locks, where they must to
Must do
put
now. Or
there's
they must do what? Not
there,
must do, but must
uh, there must put their keys
exactly at the same
at the
time.
same time,
So
uh, and then the bird fly or
we
something.
keep hearing this expression, Abimelech. We keep hearing this expression in the story. The bird will fly, but the bird never flies.
No,
So, what does that make you think about? If two people are in some kind of strange basement, there's no outside, there's no windows. All we know about them is that they seem to work in shifts, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. One guy is studying for his master's degree. We know about that. The other guy is writing descriptions of nature on the walls of the room. As the story goes on, their behavior gets stranger. One guy likes to play children's games. He plays jacks, and he sings a little song, onesies, twosies, when you have to drop a ball and pick up these little toys before the ball bounces. And their job is to stick their keys in the console at the same time and turn them at the first sign of danger. So Abimelech, what does that tell you about
Uh,
where they are and what they do? What's your
I think
hypothesis?
they're hiding from something.
Certainly could be. Well, one thing we know is that they're in the military because they have ranks. One is a lieutenant and the other one is a captain. Yeah, okay. Maybe a captain. But particularly that
Um,
thing about the keys, what does that make you think of? We both have to put in our keys at the same time and turn them simultaneously, and then the bird flies. Sound familiar to you at all?
war, war going on.
Say again?
War is going on, I think.
War. I think that's what Shadow said too. Shadow, what was your idea about the keys? Remember?
Yeah, I remember. It's for starting bomb.
Exactly. It gives that idea that, two people have to turn their keys or it won't work. Not one person can control the big red button. So these are some things that I'm sure that they're like motifs that the author is playing with. You know what a motif is? Have you heard that before? Motif. Motiff. Oh, I spelled it
Uh,
wrong.
no, I haven't heard.
Motif is like a kind of theme, but it's basically something that it's like in music. You have a theme that's repeated again and again. So here, it's an image or a scene or a phrase, something that's repeated that we know is important in some way. So we keep hearing the phrase, the bird will fly, but the bird never flies. And this thing about the keys, which is their only purpose. So it gives us this kind of Cold War motif. These images and sounds from the Cold War seem to sort of be floating around in the story. Okay, well, let's read the last four paragraphs then, and that will bring you, so that way you can get some direct experience of the story, Abimelech. So Daniel, why don't you start us off?
Okay. Wheat well, although the frozen enchiladas are damp, when defrosted, and the frozen devil's food cake is sour and untasty. We sleep uneasily and
Acrimoniously.
acrimoniously and acrimoniously. I heard Sotwell shouting in his sleep, objecting, denouncing, cursing sometimes, weeping sometimes, in his sleep. When Sowell sleeps, I try to pick the lock on his attaché case so as to get at the jacks.
What are the jacks? Remember
The
those?
the play the
The
play.
Not the play, the
The
game.
game, the game,
The
the game.
game, right. The story is called The Game, too. Don't
Yeah.
forget.
Thus far I have been unsuccessful, nor has Sotwell been successful in picking the locks on my attache case so as to get at the 38. I have seen the marks on the shiny surface. I laughed. In the latrine, this is a sentence who repeats again and again. Pale green walls swatting and the air conditioning whispering in the latrine.
What's a
Yes.
latrine, do you know?
The bathroom.
The bathroom, like a military bathroom.
Yeah. Very disgusting.
Probably.
I write description of natural forms on the walls, scratching them on the tile surface with a diamond. The diamond is a 2.5 carat solitaire. It's a kind of ring, no? Solitaire.
Yeah, exactly.
I had in my attache case when we went down. When we went down, it was for Lucy. The south wall of the room containing the console is already covered. I had described a cell, a leaf, a stone, animals, a baseball bat. Who is this?
These are the things he's writing on the wall. These are
Yeah.
descriptions of nature. There's one little
Baseball, a baseball bat.
exactly. Because a bat, that's a natural thing, but a baseball bat, I don't know if that's a natural thing. But he doesn't seem to mind.
I am aware that the baseball bat is not a natural form, yet
Oh,
uh,
he figured that out. Okay.
yet I describe it. The baseball bat, I said, is typically made of wood. It is typically 1 meter in length or a little longer, fat and one-end, tapering to afford a comfortable grip at the other end. Wow. The end with the handhold typically offers a slit ring, or lip, at the nether extremity to prevent slippage. My description of the baseball bat ran to 40,500 words, all scratched with a diamond on the south wall. A lot of free time.
Apparently.
Does software read that software read what I had written? I don't know. I'm aware that Sowell regards my writing behavior as strange, yet it is no stranger than his Jack's behavior, or the I'm reading on the screen. Could you?
I turned it. It's not appearing?
No.
Oh, I already
Okay.
turned it.
Okay.
Oh, there. Okay.
On the
Okay.
day he appeared in black bathing trunks with the 25 caliber Beretta strapped to his right calf and stood over the console, trying to span with his two arms outstretched the distance between the two looks. He could not do it. I had already tried, standing over the console with my two arms outstretched, great. I was moved to comment but didn't comment. Comment would have provoked counter-comment. Comment would have let good news where. They had in their infinite patience, in their infinite foresight, in their infinite wisdom, already imagined a man,
Imagined.
imagined a man standing over the console with his two arms stretched, try,
Stretched.
stretched,
With a
try,
t at the end. Stretched.
stretched,
Close
trying,
enough.
outstretched,
You gotta get the little T.
uh,
Stretched.
stretched,
There you go.
stretched, trying to span with his two arms outstretched the distance between the looks. Wow,
There you
crazy.
go. What's this thing about the two arms outstretched? What's he trying to do, Daniel?
To put the gun on the locks.
To put the gun on the locks? The
I don't
gun?
know.
No, no, the Beretta is strapped to his right calf, his leg. The calf is the part of your leg between the
Yes.
knee. Right, okay. So the gun, the Beretta, is strapped to his leg, right? So the Beretta is strapped to the right leg and stood over the console, trying to span his two arms outstretched the distance between the two locks. Couldn't do it. He's trying to put both keys in the locks and turn them. Do you see what I'm saying? He's got both arms outstretched to see if one person alone can put both keys in the locks and turn them. What happens if he turns the keys? What happens?
The birds fly.
The birds fly. The birds fly, and this happens. Can you see this image?
Ah,
They're the birds.
okay.
Everyone see the birds? Wave
Yeah.
hi to the birds.
Missile.
This
Missile
is from
flying.
this is from the movie that Yuki was talking about in the last class. This is
Ah,
from the day after, 1983. When I was a kid, I think this was on television, and I think we even watched this in school, which was ridiculous, about what happens if, because when we were kids in the 80s, all you ever heard about was the Soviet Union is going to send missiles and destroy the major cities in America. And we used to, when I was a kid, I remember very clearly seeing pictures of where I was born in Philadelphia, seeing pictures of, okay, how many miles out would you get vaporized, and how many miles out would your skin get burned off, but you might live, and how many miles out would the water boil in your glass? And
okay.
this is the kind of stuff we grew up with, and it was quite scary as a kid because you kept hearing about this. Uh, it was called the Cold War, but it was really a psychological game. Hey, just like the story. How about that? Anyway, this is a shot from the movie where the Minuteman missiles are fired from somewhere in Nebraska or something like that. So I think those are the birds that he's talking about. Um, what was I going to say? And one last question. Uh, when when Shotwell's asleep, what is the narrator's mission? Just to make sure that's clear. When Shotwell
Just
goes to sleep, what does he try to do?
to steal the jacks.
To steal the jacks. And when he's asleep, what does Shotwell try to do?
Um,
Doesn't it say something about that? I can't remember.
maybe to cut the gum.
Oh,
H.
maybe that was it. Yeah, wait. I thought it said something here. Uh, Picking the locks on my attaché case here. Nor has Shotwell been successful in picking locks to my attaché case as to get to the 38, right, to get to the gun. I've seen the marks on the shiny surface. I laughed in the latrine. Right. So Shotwell's trying to get his gun. He's trying to get his jacks. They have different priorities, apparently. Um,
It's a
okay.
very a pale green uh, the description of the latrine.
Pale
Uh,
green
Pale
wall.
green with wall sweating. It's a very unhealthy place, no?
Yeah, it's sort of, it's, again, it's like this. We don't see nature, but the only green we get is this industrial prison kind of green painted on the walls. That's what I picture. So, and then he goes to the green and he writes about nature, but he confuses birds and bats with birds like missiles and bats like baseball bats. He seems to be very confused about what is natural. Well, he says he knows the difference. Anyway, it's an interesting point that the only green in the story is not nature. It's this industrial sort of paint on the walls of the bathroom. Anyway, the latrine is probably the one place where something natural happens, so maybe it's an appropriate thing. I don't know. Well, we got three paragraphs left. Shadow, want to pick it up here?
Okay, Shotwell isn't himself. He has made certain overtures. The burden of his message is not clear. It has something to do with the keys, with the locks. Shotwell's strange person. He appears to be less affected by our situation than
Then
I.
I. Yeah.
Yeah, than I. He goes about his business stolidly,
Stolidly, I guess. Stolidly.
stolidly, stolidly, watching the council, studying introduction to marketing, bouncing his rubber ball on the floor in a steady, rhythmical, conscientious,
Conscientious.
conscientious manner. He appears to be less affected by our situation than I am. He is stolid. He says nothing, but he has made certain overtures. Certain overtures has been made. I'm not sure that I understand them. They have something to do with the keys, with the locks. Shotwell has something in mind. Stolidly,
Apparently, that's the word of the day. He keeps repeating it. Stolidly. We'll find out
stolid,
what it means in a second. Go ahead.
stolidly he shucks the shiny silver paper from the frozen enchiladas. Enchiladas. Uh, Stolidly he stuffs them into the electric oven. But he has something in mind. But there must be a quid pro quo.
Quid pro quo. Tit for tat. This for that in exchange. Quid pro quo is Latin.
A quid pro quo. I insist on a quid pro quo. I have something in mind.
What do you think he has in mind?
I don't know.
Whatever
Really.
it is, it's stolid.
What
Stolid
meaning
is
of this? Uh-huh.
no emotion. Like stoic, like the stoic philosophers. Stoic, like a statue. Sort of calm and emotionless without emotion. Uh, but this last line tells us something. He has something in mind. There must be a quid pro quo. So that means an exchange. Quid is this, for, pro, that. This for that. I give you something, you give me something. I insist on quid pro quo. They don't know what, he doesn't know what it is, but whatever it is, it has to be some kind of an exchange. Well, let's keep that in mind. We'll get back to it in just a moment. Stolidly. Actually, I don't even know how to say it right. Hold on. Oh, it's stolid, not stolid. Sorry. I guess if solid is with an ah, then when you put a T in front of it, it would still be an ah, stolid. Okay. Um, let's see. So we did Shadow, Daniel. The next person here was Abimelech. Want to take it away in the next paragraph? We've got just two left. Go ahead, Abimelech.
Okay. Uh,
See
I
where it
am
is
not.
in blue? Yeah, that's it. Good.
I am not well. I do not know our target. They do not tell us for which city the bird is targeted. I do not know. That is planning. That is not my responsibility. My responsibility is to watch the console, and when certain events take place upon the console, turn my key in the lock. Shotwell bounces the rubber ball on the floor in a steady, stolid, rhythmical manner. I am aching to get my hands on the ball, on the jacks. We have been here 133 days owing to an oversight. I write on the walls. Shotwell chants onesies, onesies, twosies, three Cs, four Cs in a precise, well modulated voice. Now he cups the jacks and the rubber ball in his hands and rattles them suggestively. I do not know for which city the bird is targeted. Shotwell is not himself.
And
Sometimes I cannot sleep.
what happens in the story when you're not yourself, when you're acting strange? What happens?
Sorry.
I said, what happens when you're not yourself? From the very beginning of the story, if you're acting strange, what happens in this story, in this place? What are they supposed to do? Class?
People behaviors strange and
What?
they are look each other all time.
Oh, more than that.
Oh,
They've got guns. They're supposed to shoot each other.
yes.
If one person acts strange, they have official guns. They're supposed to shoot the other one.
But what is strange in this history?
Exactly. In the story, not history. Story.
Story,
In the story.
story.
Exactly. What's strange? Their behavior seems to get pretty bizarre. Um, Cornell, I think you're going to finish it up for us because we've got one paragraph left,
Yeah,
starting here at the bottom, page 6.
John. Hi, John.
Hello?
Hi, class. Okay,
Go for it.
yeah. Sometimes I cannot sleep. Sometimes
Whoa,
Shotwa.
slow down, slow down, slow down. In your
Yeah,
best dramatic reading voice.
yeah.
Slow and calm.
Okay. Sometimes I cannot sleep. Sometimes Shotwa cannot sleep. Sometimes when Shotwa cradles me in his arms and rocks me to sleep, singing Brahms, Guten Abend, Gute Nacht, or I cradle Shotwa in my
Next
arms and
page.
arms and rock him to sleep, singing, I understand what is Shotwell wishes me to do. At such moments we are very close, but only if you give me the jacks, that is that is fair. There is something he wants me to do with my key, while he does something with his key, but only if he will give me my turn. That is fair. I am not well.
And that is the story of the game. Hey, remember that paragraph back here? This one about quid pro quo? There must be a quid pro quo, right?
Okay, John, I have a question. Who is Shotwell? Because I joined the lesson later than others.
Uh-oh. Well, we're going to talk all about the characters. We're going to discuss the story now, so we'll get all these questions answered. But who is Shotwell, class?
The captain,
He's the captain, or is he the
the boss,
lieutenant?
Captain of what?
We don't know. We
Simply
don't know.
captain of ship or
We have no idea. We don't even know where they are exactly. We just know a few details. Before we move on, before we talk about these specific things, I just want to go back to this point so we don't forget. There must be a quid pro quo. Hey, look at the last paragraph that Cornell just read. Was there a quid pro quo at the end of the story?
huge.
And what was it? Remember, quid pro quo is this for that. Give me something and I'll give you something. So what was the quid pro quo?
Uh, give, give, love each other.
They love each other.
On the
First,
bed.
First, Shotwell is cradling the jacks, and then Shotwell is cradling the narrator. So, and then I guess he cradles him back. Cradle is to hold in your arms. So, Shotwell, I don't know what this is. Shotwell makes certain overtures. Now, I guess an overture is a hint or a suggestion. So I guess he's lonely. I'm not sure. It's really hard to tell what's going on, actually. But anyway, there does appear to be a quid pro quo, at least, at the end of the story. So, there you go. And Yuki, you missed it. I was showing everyone this. Look familiar?
Uh, yes,
Have you seen this?
yes.
You know what that's from?
Uh, I don't know.
That's from the day after,
It's a scene from day after tomorrow.
not the day after tomorrow.
Day,
The day
the day
after,
after. That day after.
the one with Jason Robards.
Yes, yes. Yes, I remember. It's been a while. Very,
I
yes,
think I
it's
was I was I
old.
think 10 years old when
Yeah,
when
10
the
years old, but it was a big hit. Uh, yes,
so I,
and some Japanese got angered because this film described the disaster of nuclear war very incorrectly.
oh yeah.
Yes, of course. Why? Why people can watch how nuclear bomb fell down and blasted uh, safely. It's
Yeah, yeah, that's
impossible.
true.
Yes,
That's true. They're driving down the road and they see the mushroom cloud, and they're basically okay. That's true.
many
I
Japanese fell fell this um, despair. Many Japanese despaired that Americans did not understand what was happening in Hiroshima, Nagasaki.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Okay, got it. Yeah, we tend to forget about that
there
because
was a more disastrous situation in Hiroshima.
and also we got to remember that in America, when the atomic bomb was dropped, they said that like no one got hurt. I mean, the media said at the time in 1945, um, there weren't that many casualties, and there was no radiation. Can you imagine that? They were saying that there was atomic bomb was dropped and there was no radiation, like a day afterwards. That's what they were saying. And then there was like one reporter that was able to get over there. I don't remember the whole story, but there was like one person over there who was able to talk about what really happened. But it didn't come out for a long time. So there might be a reason why a lot of Americans don't really understand what that event meant. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't really reported. It came out later. Of course, by 1983, everyone knows. But the official story was that it was like a safe event.
Yes, most most awful thing is that there were radiation. Um, place 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 is contaminated, but so after the bomb, many people in Hiroshima has been died, one after another.
Right.
So radiation is really uh, awful. Yes,
Big problem.
yes, big problem.
Well, I put a little caption there. The birds fly. I think those are the birds that we're talking about in the story. And by the way, let me just say a quick hello to Yassine, because I didn't say hello when you came in. Hello, Yassine. Yassine? Hello? Maybe I'm not saying the name right. Is it Lassine or Lachine? I think it's Lassine. Yassine. Oh, well, when you get your microphone working, just say hello to the group, okay? Um, so, just a quick background here. There's Donald Barthelme. So he died a little bit young. He was a postmodernist who is regarded as one of the most versatile American stylists. That means he could write in many different ways. He felt modern language no longer effectively communicated feelings. And that's interesting because that goes back to our quid pro quo moment of the story. Shotwell doesn't come out and say what he wants. He has to make overtures. It seems like language in the story, language doesn't really communicate feelings. maybe in the prose of the story itself as well. Well, ultimately everything is communicated through words, but language somehow has to be changed in this postmodern way to communicate what we assumed could be communicated before. But anyway, the characters can't speak to each other. How do they communicate in the story? Just out of curiosity. What do they do instead of speaking to each other? Actually, do they ever speak to each Does anyone ever say a single word in this entire story that you remember? I'll take that as a no. Do you remember anyone actually speaking in the story?
Action.
Yes?
Action speaking.
Action. Action is louder than words. So how do they communicate then, Daniel? What do their actions tell you?
I don't understand the way of the question. The meaning.
Okay, well tell me what you understood and then I'll tell you the rest.
Uh, are you asking about the some dialogue on the story in the story? This story?
Yeah, basically, because look, if we look here, this part here that I was just reading, these are some things that the author, Donald Barthelme, is known for. He was a postmodernist in the sense that he didn't believe that, here it says, he didn't believe that language could effectively communicate anymore. It can't communicate feelings.
Okay.
And I think we see that in the story. That
Okay.
the, right?
All
And I'm
time
asking,
describing the situation.
he's describing the situation. Yeah. And you said actions are what we see. So what do the actions communicate? Since the characters aren't communicating to each other, what do you think their actions communicate?
Feeling.
Yeah, like what specifically?
Uh, I, for example, the main character is thinking or is saying, "I'm not well." I
Right.
all time. The ending the paragraph saying, I'm not well." Sometimes.
Uh-huh. He's not saying that to Shotwell though. He's saying that to us. So those are his thoughts, right?
His thoughts, yes, his thoughts.
Okay.
Non-verbal communication. So they try to read the situation without words, um, and try to take a hint,
Yeah,
subtle hint.
because they say that thing about overtures. You
Yes.
know, Stockwell wants something. I don't know what he wants. But he makes certain overtures. By the way, did you ever see this comic? This was another thing when I was a kid. I'll try to show you a picture here. Uh, Tell me if you know this one. Maybe you have this in your language too. Because as far as I remember, this was all a comic all done without any words. Have you ever seen this? Spy versus Spy? Have you seen this
Mm,
before?
no.
No? This was a Mad Magazine comic when I was a kid, and
It's rock band,
it
no?
reminds me of. Is it a rock band? I don't know.
Sorry.
Stretch
It
and
was a
Itchy
comic.
in the Simpsons.
What's that? Oh,
Stretch
what
and
is it?
Itchy.
Scratch and Itchy.
Yes.
Why do you say that?
In the in
It
the
is?
Si- in the Simpsons,
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember them. Why do you say that? Itchy and Scratchy.
because they don't talk each other.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It was just like that. See, here you can
Hmm.
see one of them.
Yes.
They had little situations. One is the black spy, one is the white spy. It reminds me of this story. I think it's part of the inspiration of the story. I don't know. Itchy and Scratchy is also extremely violent, right? It's there are a bunch of kids watching there are a bunch of cartoon kids watching a cartoon with extreme violence and blood and gore, and they all find it hilarious. So something like this. It reminds me, it's two spies and they never speak to each other. They just keep getting into these situations. But just reminds me of the story.
So they are
So
constantly warring against each other. Uh, so they they try to take advantage, but above partner, but in the end, it was no use to do this.
why is
So
that?
because it was win and win situation. So there is no use to besting the other.
And and did the narrator get what he wanted in the end? Is there any resolution to the story? Because what I think what he wanted was the jack.
Very open story.
He wanted the jacks, and even at the end, he didn't really get it. They just got to cuddle.
Ah,
That was it. And he said, he says, but it's only fair. So at this last paragraph, right?
this
This
is
part.
fair. I'm not
This
aware.
is.
Yes, here the phrase "I'm not well" appeared in this story many times. So
It's one of the things.
yes,
I'm not well. The bird will fly. What
I'm not
else?
aware. I do not our target.
So I'm calling all of those motifs in the
Hmm.
story. Things that repeat, we have to figure out how they're meaningful. And that brings us to another point here. Another thing that as a writer he's known about. Made art out of language, played with words in fragments. Fragments is the key word here because it's these little fragments of communication that are important. And in this story in particular, let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to say here with about his bio. And okay, one last point. His plots tend to be unconventional, episodic, absurd, slapstick. You know what slapstick is?
Yes, slapstick movie maybe.
Like
It the comedy, but it's a very silly comedy,
like
mm,
like like Charlie Chaplin.
like Charlie Chaplin. Yes, slapstick
Or
comedy.
there you go. Well, not later Charlie Chaplin, early Charlie Chaplin. Characters are types rather than developed individuals. So this gives you a kind of a lens to view the story through. This is what he's known for. This is what postmodernism tends to be known for. And he's also postmodern in this way. Look what he did. He didn't even really have one particular job. Reporter, museum director, editor, professor, teacher. The guy did everything. Uh, Also kind of postmodern. So all the categories are kind of broken down in his stories and in his life. Um, Let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to get to. What I've done here, oh, and then some background information. The two-man rule is a control mechanism designed to achieve a high level of security for especially critical material or operations. Under this rule, all access and actions require the presence of two authorized people at the same time. Do you know what that's a picture of?
It it it's a scene of Pentagon, no?
Close. It's not the Pentagon. It's
NASA or NASA. It could be at NASA.
very close. It's actually one of
CIA,
the
FBI.
no. This is NORAD. This is a picture from NORAD, the North American Strategic Command Center, which is inside of a mountain to protect it from a nuclear blast.
No, that.
So NORAD, right? And I
What,
think
what
in
is it?
in
No,
war
John, sorry, I
NORAD,
think it's
North American Air Defense Command.
NORAD. Yeah.
Is that it? Okay. And it's inside of a mountain. You have to go into a
Yes, I
mountain
know.
to get there. So this is where I imagine the story takes place, in one of the rooms of NORAD, maybe in a basement bunker somewhere.
NORAD sometimes often appears in the action film or sci-fi films. Yes.
There you go. Well,
It
and
looks
this is
like a big gigant hangar,
a giant what?
giant warehouse. Sorry,
Giant. Oh, hangar. I got it. Hangar.
hangar.
Yeah. Like an airplane hangar. Yeah, something like that. Except that it's embedded in a mountain. So that was just one thing about you. That's one part of the context you need to know. The thing with the keys is this two-man rule. And I think I showed this before. This is the game that the guy's playing, jacks. You have to bounce a ball and pick up those little pieces, which are jacks, and you have to say onesies, twosies, threesies. In other words, each one you pick up, you have to say one of those things. You have to get as many as you can before the ball lands. So the higher you bounce it, the more jacks you can pick up, and whoever picks up the most wins. And what do you win? Nothing. You just play again. It just keeps going on and on and on. Oh, look, we got the word stolid here too. I forgot. Showing little emotion. So, with that in background information in mind, what can you tell us about the narrator? What do you notice about him? Let's talk a little bit about the characters. Shadow, you've been especially quiet. Can you tell us a little bit about the narrator? What do
I
you
think he's acting like a child because he wanna play with the jacks.
like a child? Maybe he's even a little jealous of the other guy who's got the jacks. Huh?
And
Wants
I think he's care a lot about this Shotwell, even if it's not about jacks. He he trying to talk a lot. He talk a lot about his personality, like in because
he talks a lot about himself or the
no
personality of Shotwell?
Shotwell.
So he's like obsessed with Shotwell, you mean?
Yeah.
Oops, that's not right. I spelled that wrong. And what do you imagine Shotwell thinks about him? Do you think Shotwell is obsessed with him?
No, they do. He doesn't care.
Could be. We don't really know because he doesn't say. So we
But
can.
he busy with his books and with his game, and he's not he look as what narrator said. He's not that guy that care a lot about the narrator.
He does seem to be. Well,
Close to himself. He's just spending his time uh, doing things that not real. I mean, he looked like in this story doesn't care to have a relationship with the other guy.
yeah, it could be because he's studying for his master's degree in business administration. That's what he's doing, not the narrator, Shotwell. So he seems to be a little more self-contained. He's playing jacks and studying his business material, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say? Anyone else want to add a little bit to the narrator? Cornell, did you read the whole story? I don't know if you were in the first class.
No.
So you just got the last half of the story.
Yeah, last paragraph. Yeah.
Okay. So
Sorry.
anyone want to add anything else to the narrator? I have a few points as well.
I think narrator is suspicious always.
Suspicious or paranoid?
Worrying about to be to be out of it,
What's that? Worried about?
to be scooped, to be beaten.
Ah, so worried about being beaten. Beaten
To be
in a game
yes,
or physically beaten?
yes, no, no, to be deceived,
Ah, okay.
out of it, out of it,
Outwitted.
out of
Out.
it.
There you go. Outwitted. Uh, and yet, are they? They're not. They're not in competition with each other, right?
Hmm.
So, so what's he worried about? It being outwitted in what sense? Because I agree with you. I think that's he's got this. I would almost say paranoia. And yet, they seem to know each other's secrets, don't they?
Hmm. Yes, yes, uh, yes. It's a secret, but at the same time, he feel lonely. He want he need a friend.
It does seem that way, especially with the ending. Um,
Yes.
here's some other points. The narrator is the point of view of the story. We see it through his eyes. Um, by the way, I don't even know if it's a he. Oh no, it is. It is a he actually, because I guess he's engaged to Lucy, and that's the diamond. We get a reference to his fiancée 133 days ago, right?
Yes.
Just to point out the obvious, we don't know who he is, so he's anonymous. He tends to repeat a lot of phrases. We've talked a little bit about that. Reveals crazy thoughts and motives. Well, his his there doesn't seem to be a lot of logic. It seems like I mean they're down there over it says in oversight and he keeps repeating these certain phrases. My feeling was that it's like a computer that starts to malfunction. What do you think about all the repeating phrases? Let's see if we can find a few examples here. Actually, in every paragraph, he starts to do it.
As I
But there was,
mentioned, the phrase "I'm not aware" is appeared repeatedly in the story. I think it means that something unhealthy going in the world, in this world, not in this world, in our world. So everyone feel it is not so. It is not what we expected is going, but we don't know what it is like exactly. We feel the need of take action uh, to to solve the problem, but we don't know how to do. So I'm not aware. The phrase make us feel anxious about the future, about our life. I think such a effect,
so inaction, in other words,
inaction. Yes,
inaction. Okay, so the idea that there's something wrong, but we don't know what it is or how to fix it. So it's this tension in the story, this constant tension about something is not right. Well, at least the character feels that something is not right. So that's part of the tension of the story, this
yes,
inaction. It makes sense. It kind of seems like a little bit like a Beckett story, where Lucky and what's his name? Not Lucky, Estragon and I forgot the names of the characters in Waiting for Godot. They keep saying, "Let's go," and then they just stand there and don't do anything. So it seems to be kind of
and
a
in the end of the story, they are in the cradle together, uh, uh, soothing each other,
because
and
is that
they
because they
feel
don't know what to do, or is that
yes,
because that's what they really wanted?
yes, yes, yes. it's a very symbolistic. Uh, what is happened in this world? Maybe it looks like a Facebook communication.
Really?
They give we give each other a very kind words in Facebook. Uh, Maybe we post it. I like it. Yeah.
Right, right.
So it's a very symbolistic story.
Back to that. Facebook. Of course, this story was written long before Facebook, but he was prescient. I think he knew what
Facebook
was
look
coming
like
up.
a cradle, maybe.
Facebook communication is kind of interesting because I think that the author knew what was coming up in society even before it happened. Um, well, one thing I do want to do, we're going to talk more about this after we read one more story by him because they're very short. But one thing I do want to do is just quickly, before this class ends, go back to our two exercises because I have a purpose here. These exercises are to show you or to help you help yourself when you're reading a native text. So this chart, it's not a chart, it's a technique. It's how you can start to work with important vocabulary words. Not every word needs to be saved in your personal vocabulary notebook, but let's just talk about what to do here. So with acrimoniously, as you know, I picked a word, I found the context, I made a guess, I looked up the definition, but I didn't have to. I could have guessed the definition. And then I try to come up with my own example. And at that point, I have to compare it to reality. I got to go and compare my example to Google or to the dictionary, or use it in a sentence when I'm speaking and see if people misunderstand me, see if I have to gauge whether I've understood it enough. So I'm just curious if there were any other words that you came up with to fill in this chart. Or maybe I could do this, because we don't have a lot of time. Maybe I could ask you to fill in the chart for the next class, because we're going to read a second story by him, so we can discuss both of these stories after we read the next one. But it would be great to see some of yours. Or you could fill out the chart and send it to me as well. Is it clear what to do with this chart? Is it more or less clear?
Yes, it's clear.
All right. And the words that you choose are the words that you particularly want to know, but ones that seem important that you would want to use yourself. Those are the best ones to use. And then down here, we've basically been doing this in class today. I only really talked about character. But if there's something that you're sure about or you're interested in the story, my suggestion is turn it into a question. So in one of these categories. So when we discuss the second story, we can go back to your question here. For this story too, we can actually talk about both and compare them. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We're going to read a second story by him. I can give it to you if you want to read it early. We're going to read it as much as we can in class, but I can post it for you as well if you want to get started early and take a look at it. So let's keep that in mind for the next class. I can send you the next short story if you want to look at it over the weekend as well. But we've got to stop right now, so I'm going to begin the business class in just a minute. I'll be right back, and I'll send you some material to look at over the weekend for this. Take particular look at the Thomas Pynchon introduction that I put in the top of the document. Read it if you can. It would be very interesting to get some background with that. Okay, I'll be back in just a minute for the business class, so stick around if you'd like to learn key expressions for outsourcing. Bye for now. Talk to
Thank
you
you for the
soon.
class. Thank you for the
Bye bye.
interesting text.
Bye.
There'll be more to come.
I'll read it repeatedly after the class. Okay.
Bye for now.